We are April and Scott, creators of NaughtyGym.com, and this is The Naughty Gym Show.
For years, we've been fitness and nutrition coaches to thousands of people through our commercial gyms and online platform. We've also spent nearly a decade in an ever-evolving open relationship.
This show brings together two of our biggest passions, fitness and sex positivity. Our mission is to maximize the physical and mental health of anyone brave enough to explore relationship structures that run counter to societal norms.
We have demolished our old ways of thinking about relationships, and from that rubble, built a life full of happiness, adventure, and vitality. And now we want to help you do the same.
So hop on the treadmill, start the show, and let us teach you how to never stop playing. Welcome back to the Naughty Gym Show. I am your host, April, and this is my live-in dog walker, Scott.
You used that one on the last show.
I was my live-in nanny last time.
No, you said dog walker.
Oh,
it's the one we haven't covered.
I'll have to try again. I'll have to do better.
You're going to have to come up with a new list. All right. Today we're going to talk about, this is one of the episodes we've kind of had in the works for a long time, but we haven't ran with it because we didn't know that we had the skill to talk about it thoroughly. And it was kind of the same way with our last episode, but we've got people who are smarter than us that are guests, and it's completely on them to make sure we don't make any mistakes or say anything bad today.
Yeah. They are smarter and they are hotter. They are the Flirty Swingers, Bella and Prescott.
Just trying to butter us up.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks
you don't have to butter us up. We're already in.
Today we're going to talk about this idea of equality in the lifestyle, relational equality, and we'll get to the details of that here in a moment. But before we do, we'll talk a little bit about who you guys are, how we met, that sort of thing. So as far as we remember, the only real conversation we had was the very last night.
No, we met him on the catamaran cruise.
I know, but
briefly.
We didn't really have
at Casual Swinger Week at Hedonism. Sorry.
Correct. But did we have any kind of big conversation on that catamaran that I forgot?
I don't know that I met them.
Not lengthy.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, but we had like super kind of stalked you guys before that. So here's the real story, which I'm telling them for the first time right now because I've been too embarrassed to say it before. So, I mean, I kind of revealed this a little bit. So what happened was we were on the catamaran cruise and April and I bumped into each other. Mm-hmm. Like our backs bumped into each other. And then she turned around and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I was like, and then she introduced herself and I was like, "I know who you are." And so I was super excited to meet her. But actually that was like the last day that we were there of Casual Swinger Week. And we knew you guys were going to be there. And I had already seen you online and I was already like, I really like these guys. Like, I really want to meet them. But I knew you were creators and we were creators. And I was so scared that it was going to be like we were being opportunistic and we were just trying to meet you for content creation. So I had told Prescott, I am not going to talk to them. We are not going to seek them out. We're going to see them and we're not going to seek them out. We will only speak to them this week if we happen to bump into each other, if it's organic, or if someone else introduces us, then we'll speak to them because I felt like we would have a good connection and I didn't want it to be based on content creation. So we got there like 2 days before you guys got there.
Yeah.
We knew exactly what day you got there. I acted like we did not know what day you got there. We saw you the first day that you were there in the pool. And I was like, oh my God, they're here. So we were across the pool from you. And I was like, Prescott, we cannot go over there. We're not going over there. We're just going to wait. We're just going to wait and see if this happens organically. So literally we would see you every day that week, but we wouldn't be close enough to just naturally bump into each other. So we didn't speak all week. And literally the day we met, I had said to Prescott, I don't think this is going to happen. Like maybe this is not meant to be. And so when you bumped into me, I didn't even know you guys were on the catamaran with us.
Oh my
So
God.
when you bumped into me, I was literally like jumping out of my skin. I turned around and I was like, oh my gosh, it's April. So you're like, I'm April. I'm like, I know exactly who you are.
And you are a way bigger stalker than I even thought. So
Yeah.
be careful out there.
So then we saw you guys later that night at the piano bar.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
exactly, I just feel like I have a really good gut instinct about these things because it was exactly what I thought it would be. I know I was fangirling a little bit when we saw you. Like my heart rate's up right now just thinking about it. My heart rate was up so high when we were in that piano bar talking to you guys. I was like literally, we had probably weeks of being on a high after that because we had such good chemistry.
Yeah.
And like that was the most animated conversation, like long conversation that we had that entire week.
Yeah, that was
when
the
we were
highlight
there.
of the week.
It was
really.
literally my favorite part of the week. And sometimes you just meet, we meet a lot of people that we love. We're people.
Mhm.
We love meeting people. But to meet couples that you're just like so super excited after the conversation, that is special. It doesn't happen as often. And we were like so on a high. And then when you guys texted us when you were flying home or whatever, we're like, yes.
Well, we talked about it too. We were like, of course, we meet this super awesome couple who we all connected and we had amazing conversation. Like we couldn't shut up. And you guys had to leave the next day. And so we were like, you're like, okay, we really got to go. And then we would take a few steps. So we'd keep talking. And the next day we were like, of course they had to fucking leave. And we just found a couple that we connect with and they're going home and they live so far away from us.
Wasn't that the last night for us?
No,
Also?
it was the last night for
It was
them.
our last night.
Yeah.
So we left a night early and it was, so you guys came a couple days later than we came, but we left a day early.
Yeah.
So you were like, oh, of course it's the last night. And I was like, thank God I bumped into her.
Well, something we didn't tell you guys is that next day that we were there after y'all had left, we just sat in our room and cried all day long. Yeah, it was miserable.
We felt that energy. We felt it.
Yeah, but it is rare. You're right to have that connection that we did. It was so organic and the conversation was so easy and it was just flirty and it was perfect.
Well, and
it's like a drug. It feels like it for me.
Yeah.
It feels like you're on some sort of substance that just makes you feel so high. We were literally like teenagers. We were just so freaking giddy after that. So it was exciting.
Well, that's
just so freaking sad that we don't live close enough that we could dig a tunnel between our homes.
I know. We can just move in.
Yeah. That for us, those kind of moments where you meet somebody and it's this instantaneous, huge amount of chemistry. Not, we meet people and we like people all the time, but that kind of really excited giddiness is rare. Yeah. And we've gotten to the point in our non-monogamous journey that's really the only thing we're interested in anymore.
Yeah.
We do sometimes play, in a more less connected way, I guess, but those moments have gotten more and more rare for us because we value these connected play sessions and relationships so much more than what we kind of call sport fucking moments.
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
We totally agree.
Well, we want to get to the topic, and I think we could chit chat all day. But before we do, tell us a little bit about you guys, your background, because if I remember right, and I was mostly just staring at your boobs in the bar, so I don't know that I was really listening, but I think, Bella, you were a sex therapist of some kind or something, correct? But
yes.
But not anymore.
Right. So I am retired. I was a sex therapist for a long time and then a clinical supervisor after that over sex therapist and family therapist. But it wasn't for the majority of my career, it wasn't in the fun realm of being a sex therapist. It was trauma therapy, working with people who have, especially young people who have been abused. And then I retired from that 3.5 years ago. And now I've been doing more kind of coaching, fun, sexy stuff, mostly because I'm so totally burnt out on the trauma end of it. And I was like, well, my whole entire skill set is built around sexuality. So what can I do with that? And around the same time, we literally kind of discovered the lifestyle just before I retired, like a month before I retired from my job. So then I was like, all right, well, maybe I need to build in this arena and start looking at ways I can coach in this arena because I don't want to be a therapist anymore. I don't want the responsibility of being a therapist. I love the idea of coaching more and referring out for the bigger things.
That makes sense.
Prescott, I'm assuming you're a professional musician. Is that?
I've been a stripper for about 3 years. Just kidding. No, I'm not a professional musician. I guess I am a professional. I get paid, but that's not my job. No, I just have a nerdy job that
Regular job.
Goes well with my glasses. And that's pretty much
sexy.
it.
I have so many guesses in my head, but you can tell me off air what they are.
But no, I've been playing it, still write, still record, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I don't do that for my
Because you
living.
performed at the talent show, and we were like,
that's right.
"Whoa, what is this?" That was hot.
I
As
was
you guys
so
now-
excited about that. I have ideas for the next one too. I'm going to share them with you off camera because I'm so excited about ways that he can do a performance that incorporates everything that's happened so far in the week.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like
I
it.
want to hear about it.
We'll wait till we've all had a chance to spend some time together. Maybe something will happen he can include in that.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
maybe.
And now you guys have your own podcast, and that started a few months ago, right?
Yep. Yeah, we started, I think we only have a few episodes out. We started in April, but then I started working on a jealousy course because I had a lot of people asking me questions about jealousy because I used to struggle a lot with jealousy before we got into the lifestyle kind of quietly. And then the lifestyle came up as an option and I really, really, really wanted to do it. So I was like, okay, time for me to dig in and stop burying this stuff. I thought we would do podcast episodes on that, but then it was feeling like it would be way too much information to try to share sparsed out through different podcast episodes. So I ended up making a course. So now we're done with that and we're moving back into podcasting.
Well, let's get to it. I have trouble sometimes wording the questions. I get accused of bad wording all the time. So if you hear it one way, I may have to stop you. Go, no, that's not what I meant. I didn't write it very well. But here's the really what we want to cover is this idea of equality in non-monogamous relationships. So here's the question, and then I'm going to give some examples of what I guess I'm actually asking, and then we can run through those examples to see what everybody thinks. The question is, should equality in a non-monogamous relationship be a goal for the partnership? Now, this is assuming a partner. It may be you're a throuple or whatever, but should equality in a non-monogamous relationship be a goal for the partnership? Now, an example of this. Should a hot wife, so a couple who loves the hot wife stuff, should a hot wife strive to be okay with hot husbanding? I don't know if that's a word.
Yeah, that's a word.
Question 2, if a female likes sex with another female, should she strive to be okay with her husband having sex with another man if she currently doesn't? Question
If
3.
he's into that.
Or yeah, not forcing him.
Yeah.
Or if a man enjoys having threesomes with two women, should he strive to be okay with his wife having a threesome with two men? If you love a thing and your spouse is willing to give it to you, is there a moral imperative for you to work towards allowing them that same freedom?
Well, I know that from my experience, it's difficult to keep that double standard, basically, to keep that in your head and have a double standard, know and recognize you have a double standard. I know that I did when we first started. We got in the lifestyle because Bella wanted to be with women, which is fantastic. And that's awesome. And I support that. But I knew early on, I knew at the beginning the way I felt about her with men. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and I felt bad about it because I was like, well, I am all in with, experiencing going this journey with you. But I knew that I'm like, but I have an issue with it. Mm-hmm. And I know that I didn't like it just because I don't think personally, I didn't think it fair.
You didn't like what?
I didn't like having knowing that I had a double standard, knowing that somehow it was going to be okay. Because not only it turned out that she wanted to be with women, but she wanted to see me with women, which kind of blew my head off a little bit. And then the idea that could happen, and yet I was not comfortable with her being with men.
Were you okay with you being with other women?
At first, I kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
It made me uncomfortable thinking about it, just because the boundaries of a marriage, we've been married for a long time and everything. I never thought about it. And it was, which is funny, just because as a guy, I think most guys, or even my, 15-year-old self, would have been like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. like, yeah, and then the reality of it within our marriage, the idea of me being with a woman too, I had to wrap my head around it.
He when I shared that with him, he literally said to me, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I would be able to get excited enough to do that, because I would feel like I was cheating on you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but if it turns me on, like if I'm excited about it, would it be a maybe? Is it something you'd consider?
Well, anything, which is funny, because almost anything that turns you on, even if it's something that I haven't thought about before, usually, ends up rubbing off on me. Right. So, you know what I mean?
Do you think part of your issue, part of your hesitancy was not just, so you said part of it was you felt like you were cheating, but do you think there was any of the emotional or intellectual side of this that you were saying to yourself, I don't feel comfortable taking advantage of this wonderful opportunity she's offering me, mm-hmm. and yet not being comfortable offering a reciprocal?
Yeah. That's part of it. Yeah. That's the majority of it. I think also what took me a little while longer to kind of fess up and face also was that if we hopped on that path, I could kind of forecast that the potential of it moving farther was there. And that made me uncomfortable also.
Like our boundaries shifting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I knew that the boundaries potentially would shift and things might come up and all that. And that made me at the very beginning, uncomfortable and feel kind of, for the first times, kind of a pang of jealousy and everything.
Jealousy over something that had never even happened.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
And he had never experienced jealousy in our relationship at all. I experienced it all the time in the beginning of our relationship, and he did not until we got in the lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. But the double standard, it made me uncomfortable with having it, because it did feel like I was taking advantage in some way also.
It felt uncomfortable for you, but it didn't feel uncomfortable for me, because I didn't feel like he was taking advantage at all. Right. I wanted to be in this to be with girls. I wanted to be in this to be with girls and share the girls with him. So I was like, I don't really care. Like, right. I don't care. I don't care. Then our horizons expanded, just as you feared.
Well, yeah, but my fear ended up, facing that fear and trying to, break it down. It changed the way I looked at things, because I figured out what that fear was based on, and I worked on it and dealt with it. And once I understood where that was coming from and what was making me so uncomfortable about it, it really did. And with a little bit of immersion in lifestyle, it changed the way I felt about it, really. Yeah. So that was something that it took a little bit of work, but
we did have some moments where I had done so much work on my jealousy before we started the lifestyle, so that I would feel comfortable doing it. And I really immersed myself in the work, and it's paid off. And we did have some moments when you were feeling jealous initially, where I said, you know what? I think we both need to be doing work. It shouldn't just be me doing the work. So if this is something we're thinking about exploring, I would like it if we were both contributing to the work factor. Mm-hmm. And you took that seriously. Mm-hmm.
It took a little bit of work just to wrap my head around the idea of being with women with you. Mm-hmm. I was totally fine with, watching you with women. That was fantastic. It was different, obviously changing over to me actually participating. But what the issue I found out with me was that, whenever I thought about it, for whatever reason, I always defaulted to picturing this faceless, headless, total, like the worst kind of guy, worst kind of douchebag kind of guy that was the kind of guy I always imagined, and kind of being disrespectful to you. And that was what I thought about for some reason. It took me us being with some other couples, just it was parallel play and everything. And I was with these guys who were super nice, like really nice guys, and it kind of humanized it for me, and got me out of my head. And I thought, actually, I would be super okay, I think, and comfortable. And so that kind of broke it down for me. And it's been, much better ever since.
Well, Bella,
Really,
so you were okay right off the bat with you and him having playtime with other women.
Yeah.
But you also knew that, at least at the outset, he wasn't comfortable yet with you having a relationship of any kind with another man.
Right.
So in that initial foray into non-monogamy, where it's just women for both of you, did you have any not jealousy, but like, all right, but I'm hoping he's going to come around because I really would like to be with another man at some point?
I actually didn't think about that at all. I didn't think about that at all. And we initially, when we started thinking about opening that up, it was because it was hard to find a unicorn. And I still wanted to be with a woman. So I was like, and we had some situations where, so initially we either looked for women or we looked for couples that were okay with the woman playing with me and then having parallel play otherwise. And we had a group play situation with two other couples that was so hot. It was really so exciting. It was one of my favorite experiences still. It was my first experience with the strap-on. I thought I would hate it. And it was so hot. It was really, really fun. So after that experience, I was like, you know what, honey, actually, like, I think in that situation, I could have been with the guys and I would have had fun. It would have been fine. How do you feel about it? And
it was, surprising. I mean, during the play, I know that one of the guys, I thought it was funny. We're on basic cable, right? So I could say whatever I want.
Yeah, say what you want.
So like I'm doing you, and it was funny. This guy's on his back next to us, and his wife is blowing him, and he's gonna come, and he reaches over, and she's, you're bent over, you're looking beautiful. He just reaches over and just starts grabbing her breast, and he's going to town. I know. I feel like I'm on, seriously, the Discovery Channel. Tit, thank you. So he's grabbing her tit, and I thought it was kind of adorable, honestly. But in the moment, I was like, "That's hilarious. That's awesome," because that's exactly what I'd want to do. Right. You know what I mean? Like, there it is.
I didn't even know it was him. I thought it was me. Yeah. I was like oblivious.
So that was my first thing. And I didn't even think about it much afterwards until you brought some stuff up. I'm like, you know what? It's funny. That's the first time, this guy starts, groping you and everything. And I was like, have at it. Yeah. Hell yeah.
So literally after that experience, we were both like, let's change our profile and say we're open to experimenting with this. Yeah. And we were both pretty excited about it, but I feel like you were even more excited than I was.
I was more excited because, to me, the more I thought about it, it was kind of, for me, a breakthrough in some ways, because I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like feeling the angst, you know what I mean? And the anxiety of my negative thoughts of you being, or in any way, with a guy. And so the fact that had subsided, and I started reevaluating it and thinking about what my boundaries could actually be, it was kind of a relief in some ways.
It was liberating.
There's something about being in the situation that makes it feel better, right? Like, your mind can play all these different scenarios. What if this happens? What if this happens? And that's when my jealousy would start to spin up. But then you get in a situation like that, and these people, and it's like, these are good people. And the worst case probably isn't going to happen. It makes all of those jealousies and insecurities kind of subside, and like,
exactly,
this is something that I can handle.
Yeah. I was a lot the same way, Prescott, when we started. It was our first foray into the non-monogamy was we were comfortable with her being with women. And so we tried that. But she came around to, well, maybe you could join in, actually in our very first play session.
Yeah.
And so she was comfortable with it, with me being with another woman, before I was comfortable with her being with another man. And I, like you, didn't like that, because I felt, it almost felt weak-minded or something. Like, it's just so easy for her, or maybe not so easy, but much easier than it was for me. I've got some work to do, because like you say, I didn't like feeling that way, knowing that, or at least I felt confident that I could work through that. And I didn't want to just become okay with it. I wanted to be able to watch her enjoy herself and have pleasure, regardless of who it was with, and feel so confident in our relationship that not only am I okay with it, but I'm loving it right along with her. But that's a process.
And we'll be right back. In our podcast, April and I are always trying to ask questions of ourselves or our guests that get you talking, or maybe inspire you to ask questions and to discuss some of the topics with your significant other or your partner. If you enjoy that type of thing, we'd like to personally invite you to come to our event at Hedonism Resort in Jamaica, January 4th through the 11th, where we're going to have even more of these types of conversations. We have experts from all across the world coming in to help facilitate some of these discussions, and we're still going to have all the incredible parties and all the fun events and new things that we bring to each of our events during that week. So we would love for you to come and join us, party with us, talk, ask questions, meet some of our friends, meet us, and have a great time in Jamaica.
And it's kind of the point of this episode is that a process that we should be going through?
I don't think the goal should be complete reciprocity. I don't think that should be the goal. I think the goal should be self-growth and growth as a couple. And if that happens, like, I don't want to ever be the person that says, I'm really uncomfortable seeing you with another woman, and so you're never going to do that. Thank you for allowing me to fuck whoever I want to. I think a much better way to frame that would be, I'm really struggling watching you with the thought of you being with another woman. I want to get to that place. It may never happen, but I will continue to do the work and put the work in. Hopefully maybe that happens, but who knows right now? I
agree. I mean, I don't have anything fundamentally against any kind of asymmetry in a relationship. Because every relationship is going to be different, and it's kind of like whatever works, as long as, I mean, if both partners are in agreement, if both partners are comfortable, if both partners, like you said, are both putting in the effort, and there's that is somewhat symmetrical, what you're saying, as long as you're putting in the work and you're both putting in the same amount. I don't have a problem with somebody says, I really want to do this. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't really want to do that, but that's totally cool. You know, have at it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's going to be a problem. It depends on the couple, really.
I think the caveat that you said is if it's what they both want.
Right.
So I think that if I really wanted to be in the beginning, if I had really wanted to be with guys too, if that were one of my goals and you were like, no, I'm not doing that. Thank you so much for letting me be with girls, but I'm not open to that. As much as I might have tried to not be resentful about that, I think I would have gotten resentful if that's something that I really wanted. So I think what matters most is, what does each partner want? And if there's a huge imbalance, but let's say the guy is into cucking and he loves, or let's say the guy's into hot wifing, but he doesn't want to be there. And he loves the idea that his wife is out hot wifing and doing her thing and talking to him about it afterward. And that's amazing for him. And he doesn't ever want to be with another woman. He's cool with it. Then that's brilliant. That's amazing. That works. But if he's doing that and he actually would really love to be with women too, and his wife is not into it and she's not willing to work on it, I say game off.
Yeah.
Like, to me, you should put some effort. If you're getting something, it would be nice if you put some effort into giving something that your partner wants too. And it doesn't have to be the exact thing that they want. I don't think we're always on the exact same page, but the effort is what matters.
Yeah. I totally agree. And you know what? It's funny. I just thought to myself, if you even take this out of the context of the lifestyle and just in any kind of marriage, whether it be, I love to go to basketball games, right? And you love book club. I did that very gender specific, so I apologize for that. I love book club and she loves basketball. So the, you know, I'm like, and you come to whatever I'm doing and make the effort, even though you're not a big fan of basketball or whatever. And I say, I'm absolutely not going to your thing. I mean, it's kind of the same thing in some ways.
Yeah.
That's not cool. It's fine if you're like, you know, you don't have to come to my book club or whatever. Really, it's totally fine. I like going to basketball with you, but you totally don't have to do that. And if it's truly okay with both parties, then fine.
Well, that's a perfect, because that was going to be my next question. I was going to take it out of the lifestyle and do just some everyday examples of things like that. But that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And it's so much about the attitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a guy says, hey, I'm going golfing on Saturday, and he doesn't even ask permission. He's just like, I'm going golfing. I'm the man. I'll do what the fuck I want. And then his wife says, you know, the next weekend, hey, on Saturday, I plan on going golfing, whatever she wants to do, you know, and he gets mad because he was planning on spending the weekend with her. Those are the types of inequalities that I sometimes see manifest in the lifestyle, and I feel uncomfortable with them. Now, like you say, if it's really what everybody wants, like she's like, yeah, go play golf whenever you want to. I could care less. And I don't care if I ever get to do anything on my own. That doesn't feel like to me that's what she probably really wants. It's an expression of her attempt to trying to salvage what's probably a shitty relationship.
Right. Well, and we've seen scenarios where one partner in the relationship has forced themselves to be okay, or tried to force themselves to be okay with the reciprocity to their detriment. Where it's caused more harm because they were so concerned about everything being even Steven. And allowing their partner to do this thing that they wanted to do. And they didn't want to be the one saying, no, you can't do this, that they allowed it. And then it caused damage. It wreaked havoc.
Yeah. I think for me, it's not about getting equality. It's about not being willing to give yourself the freedom to do something your partner is allowing without at least being willing to try to get there yourself. You don't force it. If you don't ever get there, fine. If you're giving a genuine effort, that's different than just taking the gifts but never giving them.
Yes, I agree. And I think that the one area where I would say that doesn't apply is in your sexual orientation. So if he wants to see me with a woman and I am bi and I want to be with a woman, or I am bi curious and I want to be with a woman, that's cool. He's straight. I would love to see him with a guy. I would totally get off on that, but he's straight. And so me saying, I'm with girls for you, like, why aren't you with guys for me? That's not okay. I don't want him to work on being bi because I would be turned on by that. You know, that's the one area where I would say, no, you can't try to force your partner to be something.
I think in the lifestyle, I don't know about you, but as a bisexual woman, I see that a lot where the woman will do play with the other woman for her husband.
Yes.
And it's very performative and it makes me very uncomfortable. and
I don't want to be a part of that.
I'm pushing that. I want no part of that.
No. Either you really, really want me or we're going to be buddies and flirt. That's it.
Well, you've gotten requests from men asking you can you talk my wife into being with another woman? And I was always like, well, can you talk enough?
I'm like,
I'm like that too. Men ask me, will you just go kiss her? And I'm like, I'm not kissing your wife.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and I was talking to someone else recently and they're like, I was talking to someone and they're like, oh, your wife's not bi, but she'll at least like lick tits, right? I'm like, just as much as you'll lick balls if you're a straight guy.
That's like, what I should start saying. You kiss my husband and I'll kiss your wife.
No, don't do that. I started to say that's a great answer, but no, it's not. It's cringy when you frame things appropriately. Sometimes people don't realize, and I think in the lifestyle, so many women are openly bisexual. I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm going to say 80% or something, maybe higher. that guys have almost gotten to the point when they're exposed to that high percentage of bisexual women that they almost don't buy it. When a woman says she's straight, and they'll continue to push for those little go kiss her and all these kinds of things. And it's so cringy.
Yeah, it's cringy, and it makes me feel fiercely protective of that woman. I'm like,
I agree.
We're bullying her into doing something she does not clearly want to do.
Right. And it also just makes her feel like she's not enough based on her sexuality, which is hers.
Right.
It's not less attractive to be straight. So please don't feed that information to your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just as a side note, if you're the guy that's constantly trying to get people to do stuff with your wife, or constantly trying to get your wife to do stuff with other people, stop. I'm not saying there's never a time where that could be of some benefit, maybe. But if you've done it more than 3 or 4 times, I guarantee you've been, that's just, let your partner explore this at their own pace.
Right.
Let her have full autonomy of her own body and choices sexually.
And we keep saying guys, but it really truly tends to be the men that are guilty of this.
It does.
Women.
I see that way more from men in the DMs that I get than women.
Have you even had a woman ask that in your DMs? No. I don't think ever.
No.
Yeah. It's surprising the amount of men that ask that. You actually put out a post regarding that, I think, just saying, basically trying to put that perspective of like, look, it's really not, I'm not going to do that. And this is why, and this is really why you shouldn't be pushing that.
And my feeling is, if you want to convince your wife to be a part of the lifestyle, start by exploring your sexuality with your wife. Find the fun things, the exciting new things that you can do together. And as your wife feels more gratified and more open with you, maybe she'll be more excited about exploring more things. But if you're going straight at, I want to fuck other people, I want to fuck other people, I want to fuck other people, the answer is going to be, if she already said no, the answer is going to be hell no.
How can I talk my wife into having sex with other people? You cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the answer.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Yep. I have no magic bullet for that.
Women are so much smarter about this stuff. All the dumb messages she gets in her DMs, all are 100% are from men.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any advice for new people that are coming in or wanting to experiment with non-monogamy in reference to this idea of equality? Should they expect when they get started that there's likely to be some inequality in what you're comfortable with, not comfortable with, desires, fantasies, that sort of thing? Or should a new couple think, all right, we're going to go within this as a team, and it's probably going to be equal on both sides? What would be your advice for new people when it comes to this idea of equality?
I think this is just my perspective for all the haters out there. We all would like to say that if you have children, you would like to say that I love all of my children exactly equally. But if you're a parent, you know that you parent all of your children differently based upon their needs. And this is the same thing. You're not going to start, in my opinion, we didn't start the lifestyle balanced. We didn't expect that. We started with what we were comfortable with. And I think the measure is, do you both feel comfortable with where you're starting? Whether it's balanced or not, irrelevant. Do you both feel comfortable, confident, and happy with where you're starting? Then great, start there. Should you both have an open mind about how you're going to move forward? I think that's absolutely true too, because I've not met a single person in the lifestyle that started with the same boundaries that they ended with. The boundaries are ever evolving as you get more and more comfortable. So I feel like it's really important to listen to your partner, to be open and receptive to what they're saying, and to work on yourself if it's within your comfort range. So I'll give an example. I'll give an explicit example just to warn you. Warning if you want to hit mute. Butt play is fun for me. I orgasm from it, but I pay for it for like a week afterward. So I don't really want to do it with most people. I'm not super excited about it. And if he is super excited about it with someone else, I'm happy for him to be able to do that, but I don't need it for myself. Like if he's going to do that with someone else, I'm not like, let's make it equal. Let's make sure I get that too. No, thanks. I'm going to pass on that. So I think there are some things that are just inherently, they don't need to be equal.
Yeah.
It's not even going to add to the situation.
Well, and also every path is so different when you're starting out, right? Like, so the way Scott and I started our lifestyle journey is so unique. Nobody else started theirs that same way. You know, we've met people that their first experience, they were full swap. We've met people, their first experience, they were full swap, separate rooms. We've met people that didn't do anything for 3 years, the first 3 years with anybody else. I mean, so there's no right way to do this except that you are transparent and you communicate openly and lovingly with each other.
Yeah. And something we've hit on this multiple times, but not just your boundaries are going to move, but you need to embrace the idea that your boundaries are going to move. You need to go into this knowing that. And I think I don't think we actually had that idea. I think we said, we're only comfortable with this. We are never doing anything separate. We are never doing X. We're never doing Y, and we're never doing Z. We've done all of those things, and they probably are our favorite things.
That's exactly how we were.
Yeah.
That's exactly, because we're like, we would listen to podcasts and we're like, no way, never. And now we're like, oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And you may never do those things, but if you're just starting out, go into it with an incredibly open mind. Set the boundaries you're comfortable with in the moment, and just be open to at least the possibility that those things move and change over time.
Yeah.
Because you really don't. I think, April, you hit it on it too. It depends on the people you're with. Depends on the kind of the environment, the vibe. It depends on so many variables that when you're just thinking about it, sitting on the couch talking about it, is obviously very different than when you're actually in the situation, and you may feel completely different, which goes both ways, right? You may think, oh, I'm going to be totally fine with this. And then when you're in a particular situation with specific people, you may be like, no, I am not fine with this, or it might open things up. You never know.
Yeah. That's one reason I've always struggled with labels. Like people will say, are you full swap or soft swap? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on the situation. Yeah.
The situation. I'm a situational swinger, I guess. I don't know. I might not want to do anything with this couple, but watch. I might want to participate. I might. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we should change our name to the Situational Swingers. Instead of the Flirty Swingers.
Yeah. We feel like that we need to have a new term. I think the four of us are fairly similar in that we're real slow to play and just hyper picky, not because we think we can be picky, but just But I think there needs to be another term. And I don't know.
We did have one couple that we played with they were in from out of town, and we went on the date thinking, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? We're wasting their one night in Chicago because we know we're probably not going to play. And literally that is exactly what we were thinking as we were walking in. And by the end of the night, we freaking loved this couple, totally went back to their hotel room, totally did all the things. And we were like, this is not us. How did this just happen? But we love them. We love them. We stay in contact with them. It was a weird 4-way, amazing connection. Kind of like with you guys, when we met you guys, that's rare, but exciting when it happens. So sometimes you have all these boundaries and all these rules that keep you safe, that help you know where both of you stand. And every once in a while you'll both look at each other and be like, let's throw those out the door.
One of the boundaries we had early on was that Bella didn't want to see me kiss anybody. And I was totally fine with that. But we were
I really, really did not want to see that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him fuck people, but I didn't want to see him kiss people.
Yeah.
So we were, I forget what we were doing. Where were we?
We were at Couples Playhouse.
Okay. So we were at a club, and I think we were literally walking in, and she goes, oh, if you want to kiss somebody, go ahead. I want to see you kiss somebody. I was like, whoa, wait a second.
What?
No, it wasn't when we were walking in. We were dancing with a girl, and it was the three of us dancing, and it was pretty sexy. I was kissing her, and then I was like, in the moment I was thinking, I actually really want to see her kiss him. So I was so bad. In the moment, I leaned over and whispered in Prescott's ear, you should kiss her. And he was like, what?
Is that really what
You have
happened?
told me. repeatedly, do not do this. And I was like, but it'd be really hot. You should do it.
It's funny because I do remember now that is what happened.
Yeah.
And I remember being totally taken out of the moment because I was like, what? Wait a second. I'm like,
Let me set up here.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
like I was getting, kind of, get
He's
into
like,
it
are
and
you
everything
sure?
else.
Are you
but
sure?
yeah. I'm like, is this a test?
Yeah, like
This is a setup.
you start kissing, but you got your eyes cut over to the corner.
Yeah.
Like,
Side-eyeing the whole time.
it's okay, for real.
It was just as hot as I thought it would be in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have not turned back since.
Relational, because you don't know. Maybe you're vibing with this girl and you form this instant trust where it's like, okay, this is going to be hot. I want to see, I'm comfortable with it. But you just never know when it hits. And when it does, it's just easy.
Yeah. And I think there could be situations, we haven't had that happen yet, but I think there could be situations where I wouldn't feel as trusting of a girl and I wouldn't want to see that. I wouldn't feel like her motives were the same as mine, and I could see where I'd not want to see that. We're so selective about who we play with that we don't really get into those situations, but I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, I think if we were in a situation where we, or at least were considering playing with somebody, and she were to tell me that, I don't mind seeing you fuck this girl, but I don't want you to make out, then I'm going to be out entirely.
Yeah.
I'll pull the plug on that because one, kissing is arguably my favorite part of it anyway.
I know. Ours too now.
And two, that sounds like a red flag. Like there's something wrong with this couple that is causing, a little consternation on her part. And I'd rather just not risk it than to go
That's a
in
good
there.
point.
Yeah.
But we have had occasions, Bella, like you had just talked about, where there was a woman who I didn't necessarily have that trust with. In fact, there were several red flags where it kind of gave me the ick, and I'm like, "Ooh, I do not want to see him kissing this girl." As I watched him kiss this girl. But we didn't play. I was like,
no. But I do feel like now that we've moved past that, it was pretty quickly. It was in the beginning. Now we feel that way. Like if either of us don't want to see each other kiss that person, we're not going to play with them. That's like, it's going to be dead in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some signal going on there with one of you or both of you that is sending up a warning flare.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my body would respond that way too. Then, like if I don't think you're comfortable or whatever, my desire and everything else just kind of gets shut down.
Mine does
And
too.
for you guys, it's visible. If your desire shuts down, we can see that your desire shuts down.
Right,
Like you're not.
Because
Yeah.
there's a red flag. Danger, Will Robinson. Like something's up, and so I'm curious though. You guys, when you said that you did not want to see him kiss her while she was kissing her, I guess you guys ended up not playing together. But is that kind of what happened? Is that you kind of
well, no,
back
Scott
away?
loves kissing women, no matter if we're playing or not.
Okay.
He just he considers that part of flirting, and so we have different opinions on this.
This is an
I
ongoing point.
I typically will not kiss somebody unless I do have intentions of going further.
Mm-hmm.
He just loves kissing, and so there's been times where I'm watching him kiss somebody, and I'm like, this. I don't know why he's kissing this woman. And even after I've said, look, I sent some red flags with this woman. There's no way I'm playing with her or her husband. And he's like, well, I'm still going to kiss her.
No, I did never. I've never done that. I'm like, I don't care. I'm still doing it.
Well, you don't say that. It's just like, well, I still like to flirt. And part of his flirting is kissing.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is an ongoing debate we have. I feel like I don't want to misrepresent your position, but I feel like kissing is kissing. And if somebody thinks that from that kiss that I'm necessarily now wanting to play with them, that assumption is on them.
Yeah.
I understand that assumption. I understand why somebody would think that. If a woman gives me a great kiss and I'm into her, I'm going to be hopeful probably that ends up in a play session, but I'm not assuming it.
Yeah.
That's funny because we are similar
except opposite.
Our gender. Because I feel that way when she's kissing somebody sometimes because I'm thinking the same thing. Like I technically not, I think I don't, period. I haven't really thought about it, but I guess I don't kiss anybody that I don't want to feel like I'm leading on, like that's
Right.
where it's going to go, kind of a thing. And I'll see her kissing somebody. I know that it's not a good for a match, whatever
I'll
it is.
look over and he'll be
And
like,
I'm panicking, like, what are you doing? like you're going down this road and I'm trying to pull you back. Like
Right.
I've got my heels in,
and
trying
I'm
to
like,
hold
it's
her back.
fun. It's fun.
You're like, heal, girl, heal.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
Well, like Prescott said earlier, if you know that Bella has identified some red flags in a girl, your attraction wanes. Like you're like, you lose your attraction. He does not. He's like, I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to. She's still beautiful. I still enjoy flirting with her.
well, yeah, but it's not so
I don't
much-
want to have sex with her, but
Right.
I
It's-
still,
Warning flags-
That's different. I agree with it. Yeah, I agree. I get the feeling that when that happens, it's kind of like sometimes the more you get to know somebody, they become more attractive, more desirable to you. And the opposite is true. You find somebody immediately attractive, and then you get to know them, and you're like, I don't find them attractive anymore. And it's kind of that way in that situation where I find them attractive. Whatever. If there's an issue, they become less attractive to me.
right.
Yeah,
But I get what you're saying as far as still kissing and everything else. It's
And I'm
if
just
you don't
like-
think it's going to lead anywhere.
I'm like,
be a
you're
girl
pretty.
there can be a girl that I have no interest,
Yeah.
at least initially, and maybe through the party that I don't have any interest in playing in. But I have no problem if the moment seems to hit right, making out with somebody that I don't intend to play with.
I agree. That's me. That's totally me. It's just fun. It's like extracurricular. For me, that's the way flirting is too. I enjoy flirting with people just because they're cool, interesting, fun people, but it doesn't mean that I want to fuck them. But I put that question out on my page, and I did get some responses from people that said that they felt like it was sort of disrespectful to be flirty with someone that you didn't have an intent to be with. And I respect that people have different opinions on that. I can't stop myself. That is like my personality. I just appreciate people. And my intent, we fuck so few people. My intent is never to get in bed with you. I just like enjoy you. And to me, kissing, now that we're in that arena where we're doing this, kissing is just a part of flirting. And there are so many people that I kiss that I don't want to fuck.
Yeah. So our disagreement comes in, I don't think, for me, part of my flirting is not kissing or making out, like extended making out. My issue with him doing that most of the time is it leaves me standing there with the husband.
Awkwardly.
And now I'm playing self-defense because he's looking
We've
at
had
me
that
like,
a couple times.
like, here we go. And I'm like, absolutely not.
Prescott will be like, so I kissed her. I saw you kissing him, so I kissed her. And then we looked at you. You guys were still kissing, so I kissed her again. So we looked at you. You're still kissing.
See, I'm going to leave and play like duck and dodge. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Like, this guy was trying to chat me like a linebacker, and I was just like running.
I feel that.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is why we can relate so much. We are the exact same people, except swapped genders.
Yeah, and again, I can appreciate the difficulties that can either put her in or the feelings that people may have. It still doesn't change my opinion that it is an okay thing to do as long as both people agree to kiss. That it's okay, but I can understand the potential problems with it as well.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
I mean, I have felt bad. I'm just thinking of one of our more recent dates where you were like, afterward in the car, you're like, seriously?
that's the way she does me. Like, you were really kissing the girl.
I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice.
I'm like, I went and took a nap. And came back. We're
Still making out. Eight different women that you wouldn't have been play with. Yeah, if I wasn't worried about any feelings that anybody had, or upsetting her, maybe a phenomenal fantasy for me would be like in the nude pool at Hito, and I'm just working around, just making out.
you were worried about diseases. Too.
But yeah, there's a lot of problems with that. But
You'll be cautious in that new pool.
Well, if you're just making out, you don't have to worry too bad about that.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, the Hito
In the pool though, with the water. Like,
yeah, but
that would be pretty fun.
When we were all there, it was so packed. I kept walking by thinking, I think I'm going to impregnate somebody. Just walking through with my arms up, holding
the pool
my drink.
in the pool. Wasn't it crazy how crowded it was? I know that you don't really know about us because we were across the pool from you, just like with our binoculars watching you.
Behind a little floaty.
I can still picture you sitting on the side of the pool with Mallory and me being like, oh.
She would have come over.
Yeah. Fuckers, we ruined opportunity.
I ruined the whole week.
Yeah.
Imagine the fun we could have had.
I know.
I have, by the way, imagine.
All right. So I know we've probably gotten off track 30 times. I think to wrap it up, I want to try to summarize what it is, if we've come to any kind of agreement, what that might be, so people can ignore our opinions, probably altogether. It certainly is okay and expected to have some imbalances and inequities in your relationship. It's probably unrealistic to think that two people are going to have exactly the same feelings and thoughts and fantasies and all that kind of stuff. But it also is potentially a problem that could be worked on if you're willing to accept the gift of some sort of sexual situation from your partner, but completely unwilling to work towards giving them that same gift if it's something they desired as well. Doesn't mean you have to get there eventually. If you're honestly trying to work on it, that's a healthy position to still hold an imbalance in the relationship from. Does that make sense?
What if you get to a place where you're like, I've worked on this and I'm just not getting there? Do you have to continue to work on it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, my opinion would be, like, if you gave a genuine effort and it's just not there, you just can't fathom seeing X, and you've worked on it and given a genuine effort. If you can say to yourself, I gave this a great effort, then yeah, probably at that time you say, look, it just doesn't feel like it's ever going to happen. And that's okay too, because that's not the horrible attitude of, yeah, I'm willing to take, but I am completely unwilling to give.
Well, we've done something like that before and put it on a shelf for a year or two and then came back to it. And it was like, oh, that doesn't bother us anymore.
Yeah.
Without any work.
Without doing the work, which we were always doing work, but it was like, that doesn't seem like such a big thing now.
I agree with everything you just said. I agree with all of that. I think that the problem comes in if someone just makes a blanket statement in the beginning where they're like, yeah, sure, I'll be with other guys, but I don't want to see you with other girls or whatever. That's just not fair. If you come out of the gate and you're willing to take, but you're not willing to try to give, that's not okay. But if you work really hard and it just doesn't do it for you and it taxes the relationship, then if you want to be in that relationship, it's not worth it.
Yeah. And it's also, we're not saying that, like, going to that, back to the hot wife scenario, if he is really into the idea of you being out with other men and coming back and telling him about it and stuff, and that's a huge turn on for him, and the opposite is not a turn on for you, I don't see any reason, because you're kind of doing that for him in the first place.
Exactly.
I don't see a problem with that either. It's just people's attitude of kindness and respect towards their partner that can sometimes get in the way. And you can see that. And seems like it's mostly the guys that are the problem in these situations where they get real alpha male. And I don't know. Probably shouldn't keep saying that.
But that's true. That is what I've seen so far too. I haven't had a single message from a woman. Like, I haven't had the reverse happen with genders. I do think it's more of an issue right now.
Yeah, I agree.
At least with the males that are speaking up about it.
Yeah, anecdotally, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, guys, tell us how, or tell our millions and millions of listeners how they can find out more about you guys.
Well, follow us on Instagram, the Flirty Swingers on Instagram. If you want to email us, you can email us at theflirtyswingers@gmail.com. And that's pretty much all I got.
You can see our what we have put out on Spotify.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's on YouTube, right?
Everything's in our bio on Instagram. So if you want to follow our tiny little podcast that has 3 episodes out. You can follow that.
They're phenomenal episodes. I'm like, I actually just went back the other day. I'm like, surely they've got another one out by now.
We're working on it.
And of course, you have to mention the course you did. You did a lot of work on that, and I think you should be super proud of it. I'm proud of it. The jealousy course that you did.
Yeah, and that's in my bio also on Instagram. So it's the whole course goes through every single thing that I thought of or did in the year before we got into the lifestyle. Because I'm actually pretty shocked by the result of what I did. I kind of went into panic mode when we discovered the lifestyle, or when we talked about me being bi, and you're like, I want to see you with a woman. Like, I want you to do that. I was like, okay, I need to do all this work. So I honestly was not super hopeful about it, because I've spent so much time in that mode of monogamy and jealousy and all of that I thought it was just an ingrained part of me. And I really just don't feel... I mean, if I have a twinge of jealousy, it's usually because there's something off about the situation that doesn't feel safe to me. It's not this weird superficial jealousy that I used to have. So anyway, the course is every single analogy or metaphor or counseling tool that I used to get past my jealousy and really mostly wipe it out.
Yeah,
That's
I love
awesome.
that. That's fantastic.
Well, to wrap up, in the spirit of equality, which was the topic of this show, hopefully we get an invite to be on the Flirty Swingers podcast one day.
Yes, we're going to have you on there. It's happening.
Yeah.
Follow up. Watch.
For Casual Swingers Week?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
We haven't made any of our plans for next year yet. Okay. So we shall see.
And there's also another company called Naughty Gym that does trips that would love to
in
have
January.
We heard
in
that's
January,
fantastic.
yes.
January 4th through the 11th, but then we will also be at the Casual Swinger Week. So.
Yep, we're going to be there.
Nice.
All right, you want to wrap it up?
What do you want me to say?
You always have your finish line.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Can you edit that out? Take it from the top.
And April.
Yes. Thank you to Bella and Prescott from the Flirty Swingers. And remember to never stop playing.